Good afternoon, guys. Lexus Driver here. Welcome to a new video. On this video, I'm going to be talking about Fantastic Mr. Fox, which is a movie that I finally got to watch, and I'm going to be giving my thoughts about this film. Um, this film, like Fantastic Mr. Fox, this is actually based off of the novel by Roald Dahl. Um, this film, Fantastic Mr. Fox. When I first saw the trailer of this film, I've seen the trailer um, like years ago, but 2 decades later, I finally got to watch this film because Fantastic Mr. Fox. This is like one of the most underrated films made by 20th Century Studios. At the time this film was made, this was under 20th Century Fox, but now the studio, since Disney bought 20th Century Fox, it's now renamed 20th Century Studios, and also their sister company, Fox Searchlight Pictures. It's now Searchlight Pictures. Um, Now, Fantastic Mr. Fox. This is like one of the greatest. This is like a really great film. Like, I've wanted to watch this for a long time. I finally got to watch it and really want to give my thoughts about this film. And it's also one of the most. It's also one of the most underrated films in 2009. This film was actually was actually competing with Disney Pixar's Up, but unfortunately they didn't win both awards. And this film, this film, was nominated but lost both awards to the film Up. So Fantastic Mr. Fox, it's a really underrated film, um, but really really good to watch with your friends and family, and Fantastic Mr. Fox. The animation here, it's more live action, but to put it through, this is actually stop motion animation. Stop motion, it's the films I know that uses stop motion is Wallace and Gromit, and other films that are made by the same guys who made Wallace and Gromit. But this is actually stop motion. Fantastic Mr. Fox, made by Roald Dahl, and Roald Dahl, he's the author who made Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and also James and the Giant Peach. Fantastic Mr. Fox. The film Fantastic Mr. Fox. It's made by 20th Century Fox. Currently, it's 20th Century Studios. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. The film adaptation is made by Warner Brothers, and James and the Giant Peach. It's made by Disney. Well, a subsidiary made by Disney, but officially it's by Disney. Fantastic Mr. Fox. Um, how should I say this? Uh, there's a bit of difference between the original, there's a bit of difference between and the novel and the novel and the film. So, uh, uh, and also I like to give my in so my thoughts about that's my thoughts about this film. Also, I like to give out my in depth review of, what this film is, and also very familiar actors and actresses are in this film. Like the familiar ones play the minor characters, and also there are also familiar actors and actresses who play the major characters. So the difference between the novel and the film, in the novel, Mr. Fox has 4 kids, but in this one, he has a son and a nephew. So the main characters include Mr. Fox, Mrs. Fox. She has an actual name later on, but I can easily forget that name. So Mr. Fox, Mrs. Fox, Ash, and also Christopherson. Ash is Mr. Fox's son, and Christopherson is Mr. Fox's nephew. Uh, if I get a copyright claim, like, even though I muted the speaker, if I get a copyright claim, it doesn't matter. So, uh, yeah, actually, it is stop motion, and also, hang on, if I go a bit further, let's see. This one, you can watch it on Disney Plus because Disney Plus, they bought 20th Century Fox, renamed it to 20th Century Studios, and most of the 20th Century Studios and 20th Century Fox films are now are currently here on Disney Plus ever since Disney bought the studio and became a subsidiary. If I could find. Let's see. Wait, a little bit further. So this is the beginning of the film. This is like I wouldn't say a flashback. This is like, I would say, I like to call this the prologue, because the prologue, we only see Mr. Fox and his wife. Well, I wouldn't say his wife. I would say his girlfriend, Mrs. Fox, because it may sound like when she revealed that she's pregnant, it doesn't look like they officially got close together. But I like to say that in the prologue, Mr. Fox and his girlfriend, Mrs. Fox. Wait. Is there the? Oh. Okay. If you guys can pay attention to Mr. Fox, if you guys see here, he's actually carrying a handheld radio. Like, I wouldn't say handheld, like a portable radio, battery powered, and it's like an older model because the radio the radio has, like, like a physical display of AM and FM, like when you tune to a station. So this one, the radio he's holding, it's like a portable, old generation radio. So that's one thing I like to keep in mind. And Mr. Fox, like, how are foxes depicted in films is, foxes are, like, these sly creatures. Like, if you guys remember the film Pinocchio, there's like this fox character named Honest John. How ironic that he's actually being dishonest. He is depicted as a fox. He's sly, he's cunning, and very manipulative. But foxes that are depicted in this film, foxes are depicted as, like, like even though they look like really sly characters, these foxes, they are depicted as, like, a boyfriend and girlfriend, and then later on starting a family. So in the prologue, it shows, like, back in the old days, Mr. Fox and his girlfriend, they used to, like, steal things from other people just to survive. And, like, as in the film The Bad Guys, there was this part where Mr. like, when Mr. Wolf and his friends escape, like, after pulling off a heist and having a longer police chase, there was this line, like, Chief Luggins, that says, "Keep running, Wolf. One of these days, your luck is gonna run out." So, it, from the many heists they pull off, like, like, uh, sure they, like, stole, like, chicken and whatnot, and also, just like Mr. Wolf from The Bad Guys, he would fall for a trap that easily. So. um, it shows that like it reminds like reminds me of from the Bad Guys, like even though the Bad Guys films it's made 2 decades later from the film adaptation of the Bad Guys. It Yeah. So this one, when he pulled the chain, I can compare this to when Mr. Wolf mindlessly fell for Professor Marmalade's trap when he grabbed the golden dolphin and and then he got caught along with his girlfriend. And in this one, like he pulled it, and then he said in his thoughts, yeah, it was a trap. So it turns out, Mr. Fox and his girlfriend, like I would say, Mr. Fox, his luck has ran out. So moving on, the present day, um, this part of the film, uh, Mr. Fox and Mrs. Fox, they've officially got married. Like I wouldn't say officially got married. Like they finally got married, and they finally have a child, a kid. His name is Ash. And when I saw Ash the first time, like how I saw this character, concerning how I went through this film, Ash, he's like someone who wants to who wants to get some attention, but like due to his short size, I'm pretty sure everybody would just keep ignoring him. So Ash, if you guys watched the sequel of Home Alone, there was this line the pigeon lady says, like she says, everyone fights for position, everybody wants to be seen and heard. So I would say that's how Ash is feeling. And also what I saw in Fantastic Mr. Fox as the story progressed, it first started off like they're living in a den, and Mr. Fox he just wants to get out of the den and live as if it's very sanitary. And yeah, so he chose to move and live in this tree, and then transition it into like more of house like, to make it look like he's living a good life and sanitary and pure sanitary, and has pure sanitation. So and also uh, and also Ash, even though he is short, he's also different from everybody else. So that's what I love about Ash. I mean, I like Mr. Fox and his girlfriend. Well, later on becomes his wife, but Ash, he's also very interesting, along with his cousin, Christopherson. Christopherson, when I heard that name the first time, that name, I can suggest that he's a descendant from Scandinavia. I would say Christopherson. It's a much more common name in Scandinavian countries like Norway, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, and Iceland. Any Scandinavian or Nordic country, I would say that name Christopherson. It's much more common. So this one right here, this is the tree that Mr. Fox bought, and then transitioned it to become more of a house for his family. So as you can see here, looks pretty empty and run down, but uh, looks totally much worth it for Christoph, for his family. Even though there's lots of work that needs to be done, he chooses to buy the place, buy the place and make it more of a house. But there's but as much as Mr. Fox wanting to buy this property, um, like as much as he wants to buy this property, there is actually a consequence if he buys this property because um, this the property he's buying, like to make it more of a house, it's actually situated in a very dangerous neighborhood. When they what I basically mean that dangerous is there's actually we actually get introduced to the three main antagonists of these films. There are three antagonists. There are three main antagonists of this film, just like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. But in this film, all three of them are much more of a threat. So there's no you could say there would be a secondary antagonist, but this film has three main antagonists. All three of them are farmers. Um, one farmer handles the chicken. The second farmer handles the ducks. The third farmer not only handles the turkey but also handles apple cider, which is like an alcoholic drink. Like if one sip of this, like any other alcoholic drink, you would burn your throat and later on your stomach if you drink too much of it because it's considered like alcohol. But alcohol concentration of apple cider, it's nowhere near as um, vodka. So this character here, this is a badger, who is Mr. Fox's lawyer. He strongly goes against having Mr. Wolf buy the property because it's in a dangerous neighborhood. But Mr. Wolf, what am I saying? Mr. Fox, I just said Mr. Wolf. Mr. Fox, he just brushed it off, saying that he doesn't mind, because he chooses after their first baby is born, he chooses to leave the life of crime behind. But you could tell he's much of a hypocrite because Mr. Fox, he just needs food to keep his family alive, and also not just his family but also his close friends. Uh, yeah, so he just brushed it off. Like I said, he just brushed it off and then decides to move in. And as much as turning the tree into more of a house, it looks like work in progress. A scene like this, totally reminds me of the film that Fantastic Mr. Fox is competing with, the film Up. So making it more of a house. And this character here, this is Ash's cousin and Mr. Fox's nephew. His this character's name is Christopherson. Christopherson, he's a silver fox. A silver fox, a lot like a red fox, only a different color. If you guys watch the film Zootopia, you have Nick, who's a red fox, and also his partner in crime Fennec, who is a fox but different color and a bit smaller in size. Yeah, cousin Christopherson. So um, Christopherson, um, it made me solve one mystery, when I watched the film Frozen, both the prequel and the sequel. The character, like the protagonist, we got introduced to early on in the first film. His name is Kristoff. Kristoff, he's the character who's always with Sven, his pet reindeer. So Kristoff, I would strongly suggest that his full first name is Christopherson. So I would say that's his first full name of Kristoff in the film Frozen. So um, I mean, sure most of the characters call him Kristoff, but if I would say if I want to know his full first name, it would be Christopherson. So Christopherson, like he is the cousin of Ash. Like this is Ash, and this is Christopherson. And as you can see, Ash is Ash is small than Ash is smaller than Christopherson. So you can see that like Christopherson and Ash, they these two don't get along at first, but as the story progressed, like I said, as the story progressed, Ash would soon get along and accept for who he is, even though he's different. At least in the end, he accepts for who he is. So I would say that Fantastic Mr. Fox. One of the moral lessons in this film is that um, everybody like your close friends and families will accept who you are, even though you're different. But in the end, you yourself will later on will have to accept for who you really are in the end. So even though it looks like Christopherson is upstaging Ash, at least Ash slowly starts to accept for who he is. Um, so when I saw this part, like there was this part um, where Ash and Christopherson were about to go to bed, and also out of all the two, when they go to bed, Ash is the only one who only sleeps with his underwear. He doesn't wear anything, just his underwear. Whereas Christopherson, he wears a pajama. And what I would say about the scene is that Christopherson, like he wanted to sleep in something comfortable, like a normal bed, but Ash refuses. But eventually, Ash soon accepts and then decides to accompany Christopherson. So and also I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people who watch this film. Um, the reason why the reason why Christopherson is living with Mr. Fox, the reason why he's living with his uncle, his aunt, and cousin is because his dad is really sick. So we get introduced to there are three companies. I don't know if you guys can see it, but if I could get a closer look, no, I'm not gonna say the names because it's pretty tiny. Um, what I think about the setting of this film is that this film, even though this is an American-made film, I can strongly suggest that this film is in Britain because a countryside like this, I can tell this is from Britain. So um, so it turns out like I was right that Mr. Fox is much of a hypocrite. That he's gonna continue stealing, and then so like I said, the reason why Mr. Fox steals from these three farmers is because he needs food not just to support his family, but later on to support everybody who needs to eat. Because everybody needs to eat in order to survive. So so Mr. Fox, he has friends. Like I would say, this character Opossum, he is a friend of Mr. Fox. Well, fox are depicted as predators, while opossums, I think opossums are also prey, but you know, just like like in the film Zootopia, predators, preys, etc. Anyways, I'm gonna skip through the heist. Um, so there were actually three heists they pulled off in Fantastic Mr. Fox. There were three heists. Number one, well, the first one they break into a farmer and steal chicken. Second heist, they steal turkey. Well, no, no. Second heist, they steal. I think they steal duck, and the third heist they steal turkey. So, oh wait, bogies. That's the name of the 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 farmer who has the chicken. So when I saw the outfits they were wearing when they pull off a heist, because in the bad guys, when Mr. Wolf and his friends are pulling off a heist, they wear like this body this bodysuit. They would zip it. Mr. Wolf, he like covers all of his ears, and the only part that's uncovered is just his face. But in this one, they're wearing balaclavas, like ski masks. In order to not get seen, and they just kept their own outfits, like like Mr. Fox kept his blazer on, and the opossum, I don't know what he's wearing, but so after stealing the chicken, Mrs. Fox was really surprised about was surprised to have food somewhere in his pantry, somewhere in her pantry, like for in this case a chicken. So in this one, um, that is a chicken, but you could tell that there's a label here. And we, as the audience who saw this part, you can tell that Mr. Fox is lying to his wife, Mrs. Fox. Like considering how could he get a chicken that easily? So like throughout the scenes, like after he pulls off those heists, you could tell that Mr. Fox is lying. So this is the first heist. I'll show you guys. I'll skip ahead through the second heist. Second heist. During while they're planning for the second heist, you can see that like in this setting here, Ash and Christopherson are at school. I would say they're at school because this is like a school soccer field. I wouldn't say they're playing soccer. I have a feeling like considering how complicated like what I'm seeing, what I just saw in this part. This is the how should I say this is more like cricket. I'm not much of a cricket player to be honest, but if you guys anybody who played cricket, let me know in the comments below if like this is a lot like cricket. So we see here this is Christopherson, and also Ash, just as he's like about to finish off his game, he got called in at the last minute saying he needs to take a break and then let Christopherson take over his position, which shows you like how much like it felt like that Ash is being upstaged a lot. Well, I wouldn't say upstaged a lot. Oh yeah, Whack-A-Bat. So Whack-Bat. Uh, I would say this is like the film's version of cricket. So let me skip through ahead the second heist. Uh, Here we go. I think this is probably their second heist where they I wouldn't say they wouldn't steal the apple cider. It's possible. Well, I'd say they did steal the apple cider, but they only stole 3 bottles. Um, if I could find if there's any surprises for the okay, that's the chicken. Here we go. I must have skipped through. Um, on the second heist, what I just showed there, that was the third heist. On the second heist, this is where they stole some ducks or chick and turkey. So you could tell, like if you guys saw the security guy, like the security guard, he was pretty stupid. He didn't check the monitors and whatnot. And instead, he just eats his dinner. So after the heist they pulled off, they went back home, and upon arriving back home, like You could see that the pantry inside, it went from just one chicken to multiple meat, from ducks to turkey, to wheat, oats, etc. Like literally everything was in this pantry, and Mrs. Fox was like becoming really suspicious of how in the world did Mr. Fox get all these foods. So on the next heist, this is where they on the third and final heist, this is where they steal some apple cider vinegar. But just as they're about to execute this plan, they are met by a security guard, and this security guard is someone like someone out of the ordinary. It's not a human, but the security guard, it's a rat. Now, the rat, it's a black rat, not like the rat in Ratatouille, because in Ratatouille that's a sewer rat, whereas this is a black rat. And also apple cider like apple cider vinegar. They were gonna steal some apple cider vinegar from the storage facility, but they were thwarted by the security guard. And the security guard, I would say that even though the security guard is the antagonist, I would say that he's you could say he's not much of a threat, because the actual threat are actually the three farmers. And as the story progresses, like when you first see the rat at first, you might say that he's one of the bad guys, but it turns out he doesn't get paid much by his employers. Anyways, where is? Anyways, like they made off with the booty, and they got three bottles of cider. Um, and Christopherson was Mr. Fox. He accompanies his nephew Christopherson to help out in the heist, but he didn't allow Ash to participate. So this scene reminds me of the film The Incredibles, when Mr. Incredible came back home after a bowling. Um, so they were sneaking in, and then suddenly they get caught by their spouse. Yeah, if you guys can see, that's Mrs. Fox. She caught them, and she becomes increasingly suspicious of what Mr. Fox is doing, what her husband is doing. And that third heist already attracted attention of the of the farmers. So this is the part where they're forced to abandon their home and dig underground. I'm not going to explain much about it because I know it sounds pretty boring, but I will tell you the most interesting parts. So while Mr. Fox is digging, because um, while they were digging, they found a lot of like chicken, turkey, ducks, etc. Like literally for everybody to eat to survive, not just for Mr. Fox and his family, but also his friends. And you can see here, wait, a little bit further. You can see here, like, you can see here, like, after getting everything from the farmer, after stealing everything from the farmers, the chicken, the turkey, the ducks, and also, like, some apple cider vinegar. I wouldn't say apple cider vinegar. What am I saying? Apple cider. Uh, it looks like they're celebrating, and then they make like a makeshift banquet. But unfortunately, they wouldn't be in that banquet much longer because the banquet gets flooded. And Ash and Christopherson, well, mostly Ash's plan. Um, Ash's plan, he brought along Christopherson, was to steal back his dad's tail because, as you may have known, that his tail was shot off by the farmers, and Ash is determined to get his father's tail back because just to prove that. Ash is really capable of doing things just like his dad. But unfortunately, like the heist they pulled off just went so horribly wrong. Uh, yeah, so this part right here, he's explaining to Christopherson to that they're gonna get his dad's tail back. So they went through the manhole. They tried to find his dad's tail, but it turns out the tail was a necktie. So just as they were gonna escape, like I said, in movies, the entrance is hard, but the most difficult part is always going to be the exit. So I always ask myself, why does the exit have to be more complicated than the entering? So of course, they made it out, but Ash made it out alive while Christopherson got captured. So it just got turned into a rescue mission. So Fox devised a plan that they would do a prisoner exchange. Like Christopherson would be handed back while Mr. Fox like turns himself in. So my thoughts about that scene, for an in-depth look, looks pretty heartbreaking. I've seen scenes like this. It's really heartbreaking, but that's how the story goes when it comes to a prisoner exchange. But there's much of a twist for the bad guys. They chose not to. And instead they just want they just decide to keep this. They just decide to keep Christopherson, and then decide to kill Mr. Fox once and for all the problems he caused. And it turns out the rat actually tipped them off, and attempts to kidnap Mr. Fox's son, Ash, but eventually the kidnapping was foiled, and the rat confessed that Christopherson is trapped in the in one of the warehouses, and then the one thing he wanted to do for a long time was to taste the apple cider, and then eventually he dies. So, a little burial at sea there. So his body is strewn away into the sewers. Kind of gives me that feel of like of a burial at sea. So they all devise a plan and rescue Christopherson. So I'm gonna say a bit of a spoil. I'm gonna say some spoilers. Well, I might have said a bunch of spoilers in this movie, for those who haven't watched it. Um, this scene here, like they devise a plan, but but it turns out, like what they're planning to do is, number one, they devise a distraction while, like distract the farmers into thinking that the plan went horribly wrong, while um, while Ash, his dad, and his opossum friend go off to rescue Christopherson. So yeah, you can see here that everything's in total chaos. The chaos is a distraction, while the actual plan is to rescue. While the actual plan, they execute it, and then they go and rescue Christopherson. And my hunch was right that this film takes place in the United Kingdom, because a motorcycle like this is the configuration that's very common in in left hand left hand traffic countries like the United Kingdom, because in left hand traffic countries like the United Kingdom, Thailand, Japan, and countries that are part of that are former British colonies, this is the configuration for motorcycles that are like this. The motorcycle would be on the right, and and the passenger would be sitting on the left. So I could tell that this film is also in the United. This film takes place in the United Kingdom, and another reason, that my hunch is right that this film takes place in the United Kingdom, is because so as you guys can see right here, one of the farmers enters the car. Left-hand traffic countries, that's how the driver enters. And I know that this film is made in the United States, but a car like this, I can tell that this is a Chevrolet station wagon. I don't know, in the 1970s or 1980s, did the UK have cars like this? I don't think so, because I think in the 1970s and 1980s they have their own cars. So, but seeing one of the farmers entering the car like that, I can tell that this film is in the United Kingdom, because he's actually driving the vehicle, backing the vehicle away. So if you guys can see a closer look, I just replayed it again. You guys can see. Just hold on a second. Yeah. So if you guys saw, he raised his arm. That's where he put that's where the steering wheel is. So I have 100% proof that Fantastic Mr. Fox takes place in the United Kingdom. Now, on the part where um, they perform the rescue. Um, they Mr. Fox forgot the blueberries, and as a result, they were forced to split up. Mr. Fox will handle the dog, while Ash and Opossum handle rescuing Christopherson. So Christopherson, his arms and legs are tied, and his eyes are covered, instead of, gagging his mouth, as if he looks like he's been held against his will, like he got I would say he is kidnapped, obviously. So after rescuing Christopherson, after rescuing Christopherson, like by kicking the box out, and into, into the floor, Christopherson is freed, and the next objective is, it's time to get the hell out of there. But my hunch is right when I said about like when I said about uh, exiting is much as complicated as the entering. I mean, sure, it's easy to enter. Like, I wouldn't say easy to enter. Like, it's still hard to enter, but the hardest part is always going to be the exit. So yeah, you could see from the yeah, yeah, here we go. So this is like why I always say to myself, um, as like I said again, why does the exit have to be more complicated than the entering? Because as you can see, there's really this like exiting at this point is going to be really difficult. Like it's going to be really difficult to exit. I mean, um, I would say in any heist film, the exiting is always going to be more complicated than the entering. But fortunately, Ash has come up with a plan. So Ash he decides to release the dog uh, to uh, to chase the farmers. And yeah, the dog just went crazy. Just went crazy and starts attacking the farmers and the main farmers. Yeah, they got the tail back, but not in one piece, in multiple pieces. So after rescuing Christopherson, they quickly exit as quickly as possible. Well, the tail is recovered, let's and they escape just as things got really nasty. And then just as they're about to, just and on their way home, they encounter a wolf. But you know, as Diane states in The Bad Guys, a wolf and a fox are not so different. So that right there is a wolf, and the wolf is quadrupedal. He's not an anthropomorphic character, just a normal wolf. But eventually, someone who has a fear of wolves, I would say strongly Mr. Fox. I could be wrong. Um, put aside his fear, like he faced his fear, and and like I said, as Diane states, a wolf and a fox are not so different. So I would say the ending of this film, the bad guys in this, the bad guys in this film, the three farmers. I'd say they've been humiliated. They've lost. I would say they've been humiliated. They lost a lot of money from all the thefts, and they have no choice. But there were two. But they were left with two options. So they were left with no other choice. But they were given two options: go bankrupt or merge. So that's the thing about businesses. When a business loses a lot of money and and whatnot, there were two options. There are no options but to either go bankrupt and seize all operations or merge. So turns out everybody's living a good life underground. Yeah. So eventually Ash starts to accept for who he is, and along with Christopherson and his lab partner. If I could find like before we go on to the ending part, I'll see if I can find if there was a class he attended. I think I might have skipped it or something. Um, yeah. Yeah, here we go. This school, this is like, I can officially tell that this is really a school, like, they're doing lab work, but his lab partner, which is a female, keeps dropping attention from her lab partner. I forgot what's the character's name. I'll have to look it up. Um, let's see. So the lab partner, Agnes. So Agnes is Ash's lab partner, um, but she keeps her attention away from Ash while they were performing the project. So that's this here's Christopherson, and this is Christopherson's lab partner. And right here, this is Ash, and this is Ash's lab partner, Agnes. And um, it looks like still they're not getting along, even like it's in even at times at school. But eventually, in this part, Ash accepts for who he is, and Agnes and Christopherson get along. And his mom made a new painting, um, and they really start living a good life. And also, um, Mrs. Fox, she's actually ambidextrous. Ash is also ambidextrous, so I would say he has that trait. But the filmmakers say it's an oversight. Some people say it's an oversight, but me personally, I'd say that's a trait. So the next part is this is like we're officially getting close to the ending of the film. On this part, it may look like that Mr. Fox is going to pull off another heist, but it turns out they're in a supermarket. So supermarket containing every necessity you need for your everyday needs, food, drink, and also for milk, etc. Because that's basically what a supermarket is, obviously. So you can see here, I would say that I wouldn't say the whole crew is here. More like I would say it's more of a um, Mr. Fox, his wife Mrs. Fox, his son, his nephew, along with Agnes and his friend the opossum. So they literally start to grab everything. Like I would say, grab everything. They start to grab all the necessities they need for their food, for everything they need to eat, like in order to survive. And an actual size there's like an actual size grocery cart for all their needs. And eventually they decide to do more of a toast to um, show like what they've achieved. And everybody except Ash, they are drinking apple juice, while Ash is drinking grape juice. It shows that he's except for who he is, even though he's different, he accepts who he is. So yeah, after that speech, they all sip away, yeah, sip away all their drinks, and eventually Ash decides to spice things up by playing some music. This one. It's a lot like it's a lot like what Mr. Fox had. It's a lot like what his father had, but this one he has here. It's a much more next generation model, because what makes it much more next generation the display is much more digital. It even has like a battery indicator and also a bandwidth. This kind of device, I would say it's a radio, but if you guys used to have this device, let me know in the comments below. What are your thoughts of using this before iPods, iPhones, and iPads with radio capability? So they played some music, and eventually Mr. Fox and his family, along with his friends, starts dancing along to the music as if it's a victory. Now, this is actually like one of my favorite endings in a film. Why I consider this like one of my favorite endings is because they've achieved what they have. Like they've accomplished their objective, and now everybody's living a good life. For like Mr. Fox, not just Mr. Fox and his family and friends, but also everybody else close to him. And also the ending of this film, it shows that Mr. Wool it shows that the three farmers suffered a very humiliating defeat, that they've lost so much money from all the thefts, and as a result they had no choice but to merge. They chose not to go bankrupt, but instead they chose to merge their companies. So Bogies, Buns and Beans International Supermarket. So that's their official business when they merge. So yeah, Fantastic Mr. Fox, really one of my favorite films. Um, Wanted to watch this for a long time. Like when it was released, I've always wanted to watch this for a long time, and then 2 decades later, I finally get to watch this. So yeah, Fantastic Mr. Fox, really great film. I would strongly recommend to watch it. Even though like what my parents thought about this film, it's like the animation is not really that good, but I find that the story's amazing. So yeah, anyway, guys, that's all I have for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Uh, if you guys have watched this film, let me know in the comments below. What are your thoughts about this? What are your thoughts about this film? Till then, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. And this is probably one of my longest videos I've made on YouTube, nearly close to 1 hour and whatnot. But if I get a copyright claim, I muted this so that way I won't get a copyright claim by sound. But if I get a copyright claim, like I don't know how am I gonna deal with this. But if I get a copyright claim, then I don't really care. But anyway, guys, that's all I have for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.